Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Black Eel Podcast. Here are your hosts, Scott and Mike. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about two trailers, specifically for Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts. We'll do the Thunderbolts first because I feel like that's going to be quicker. And then we'll move on to Mike talking about all the new Star Wars stuff that was hinted, teased, released, scarily taken away by Disney and its corrupt nation. We then move on to talk about. I feel like we're going to talk about The Last of Us Part 2 episode, or the season premiere of that first, and then Daredevil.
Fine by me.
Just because they're both big, but they were big in different ways. And then we're going to be ending with a character spotlight from me. So let's get right into this. Let's talk about the Thunderbolts trailer. So the reason why Mike was laughing in the beginning was because we were talking before recording, and then I kept talking as if we were on the podcast. And he's like, "I need you to stop and hit record."
I need you to hit the record button, and you just went so stoic and with like.
I went completely deadpan, and I hit the button, and I'm like, "Fine, we'll do this. We'll do it your way."
This is the whole point of this, So
So the whole thing was we were talking about the trailer and how this particular Thunderbolts trailer really didn't give us too much new information. It was more on the perspective of White Widow, and Mike and I were talking, and he's thinking that it's more to do with the fact that she's going to be the main character spotlight in that movie.
Mhm.
And I stated that maybe that's true, and I'm not going to say that's completely false. But I also think that the reason why they're focusing on her more than everyone else is because with Captain America being still kind of newish, they don't want spoilers about what's going on with Bucky yet. In the trailers, I mean. And then the only other one that's had any airtime, recently has been White Widow, which was in Hawkeye. So I feel like we talk about her a little bit more, get to know about what's kind of going on there, and so that way, like people who are watching, kind of have a better idea of what's going on. And we're not heavily focusing on the other people as much. But at the same time, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see to know for sure. But I feel like we're going to be getting backstories of all of them anyway. Maybe not as in depth as White Widow, but definitely going to be getting where have they been since the last time they've been seen.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, they're all going to get some kind of spotlight of like, oh, what's been happening since, like you said, what we've seen. But I mean, I think White Widow is more of the focus of this movie, just because she's, though, with all of the trailers, it's been seeming like she's been,
She's the lead. She's the
yeah,
lead.
she's one of the leads, because obviously Bucky's in charge, and then like she's going to be the second one because probably she is the most skilled out of the group.
And Red Guardian is third because he's Red Guardian.
Well, he thinks he's third, but
no, that's a lie. He thinks he's first. He thinks he's first because he's greatest Russian hero ever. And no, he's actually third.
But this trailer showcased more of like the doubt that White Widow has, and how she just has no confidence after she's been having a lot of just like negative things going on in her life, that her confidence and her her faith in herself to do stuff has just been crushed. That they're trying to build her back up. She's lost her sister. Her sister was trying to do good and she died because of it. She tried to do good and lost her family because of it. Like, so it was like a bunch of sad things that happened. So like that's kind of the perspective of the trailer. And Red Guardian's like, hey, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. You have to keep trying to get better in the future. So like that was
such a great line.
Yeah.
And I'm so pissed off it's him that says it.
Like that's the thing. Like that's what I was saying off of the last trailer. Is like he's definitely the comic relief, but he's also like he's the and he's like being a good dad. Like
well, actually, we talked about this last time too, where it's like we kind of we got to see. Now, granted, we sort of very little in Black Widow. We got to see it a lot in What If, even though that technically doesn't count.
Yeah.
But you get my point. Where
Yep.
it's like Red Guardian really isn't meant to be the bad guy. He just doesn't know his way. And so once given the chance to do something, because realistically, I think we can agree, everything he's done has been because he thought he was being the hero.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he was raised in a place that wasn't necessarily
Wait
good.
a minute. Wait a
So
minute. He
he
was raised in a place. Shut up. Like not a where, not a who, not a what. He was raised in a place. Continue. I'm so sorry. I was just mesmerized by your speech.
All right, we're moving on to Fantastic Four.
No,
Thunderbolts
wait.
comes out May 2nd,
Wait,
and
wait,
I can't wait to see it.
wait, wait,
So,
wait, he took away my power. Mike just, Mike just showed, you just showed how you could take over the show. I thought I had to do everything, and now you just decided because it benefited you to do that. All right, so the Fantastic Four was incredible. So we got confirmation that Sue Storm is pregnant.
yeah, that
Um,
as soon as they said you're late, and she freaked out, I was like, oh my god, Scott was right. And
well, here's the thing. Then they doubled down, and it was just like, no, we're just going for it. We're not
yeah,
just hinting at it this time. We're saying it. And they did. So I'm kind of very impressed with that. We're also seeing so a couple of things. All right, one, Silver Surfer looks incredible. I know
yep.
a lot of people.
So it was really funny because I'm going through the trailer, and I see Silver Surfer coming down, and I hear the voice. I was like, wait, they made him a girl? What the hell? And I was like, oh
God,
wait, no, that was confirmed. I completely forgot. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
um,
I was expecting to see him, Silver Surfer, looking like the one from the
no,
2000
I know
whatever. So when it was like different, I was
2007. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
yeah. So when I saw the difference, it was like a shock. I was like, oh wait, no, I knew this.
Oh, actually, no, I think it was 2004. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I think the
Um,
original was 2004.
yeah, but I think it was only a year later, so 2005, because they were close together.
We have the technology. Keep going.
Anyway, so we got to find out that Sue's pregnant. Johnny Storm is super excited because him and Ben are going to be the best uncles in the world. Which, to
Yeah.
be fair, I hate saying it, probably is accurate. Let's be honest. Um, we also get to see Mr. Fantastic stretching.
Yeah, that looked pretty good. Although I was seeing people complain online that he wasn't glowing, which kind of was like confused me a little bit. Apparently,
Well,
he has like bracelets that enhance his powers or something.
well, so I think it would make him look too much like Miss Marvel, and they went with this route instead. And I'm okay with it. Also, it's not 616, so like it's not the main universe, so I guess they can do what they want. But
Yeah,
realistically, I thought it was good. My biggest complaint, I would say, is, and again, this is a very minor thing, and this was also a very short scene, was when he was like bouncing back and around, like bouncing around. It looked like they just copied and pasted the same action in just a different angle. I mean, like reversed it. So like whoop whoop whoop, like
oh
it
yeah,
again, very minor. But it didn't look. I was expecting. I was worried because we talked about this. We hadn't seen him stretching, and I was very concerned that he was going to look bad.
yep,
It doesn't look bad,
no,
and I'm very impressed with it. I'm curious to see what it will look like later. Because there's no way we're not going to see him full stretch. We're
hmm
just definitely not going to see it in the trailer, but we're going to see it in the movie. We also get to see a little bit more context of Sue with the force field because we've seen her with her force field like multiple times, but we
yep,
never kind of see the context of it. So it has to do with Galactus being on the planet,
yep.
which also
We saw a scene of Galactus consuming a planet, which was pretty awesome.
we also see him walking on Earth,
Yep, that
which
which
which was I don't know. I and again, it wasn't his full body; it was just his feet. I was a I granted. All right, I'll say it this way. How do I want to phrase this? My problem with it is the fact of I never think of him standing on a planet.
the
I
fact that he's there, you're just like, no, he's just supposed to eat it.
well, no. I'm just thinking like he just sticks a straw in and sucks it dry. Like I'm not thinking he steps on it. He does. He does. He has. He's stepped on planets before. He stepped on Earth before. Like this isn't brand new. But like just mentally in my mind, I'm thinking to myself
This
because
isn't right.
like I'm like we're just seeing him walk and like there's really no destruction, and I'm kind of a little disappointed. Um.
um, first, I just want to step back real quick. The first Fantastic Four movie came out in 2005, actually, not 2004,
So it was 2006.
and the sequel came out in 2007.
Yeah. So 2006.
Yeah,
It was an incredible season for the show.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh.
at this
Um
point, might as well just get everything wrong. And actually, you know what's funny? You know who voiced Silver Surfer in that?
um
It was not
I
the
don't.
guy who. It's not the guy who played him physically. I'll tell you that.
Okay, then I don't know.
So the guy who played him physically has been in a lot of stuff. He's been more creature people. He did phenomenal. No, the guy who voices him is actually Goliath from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, that's cool.
I cannot for the life of me remember his actual actor's name. Um,
I don't
so
know half of actors' names, so
so
you
because
know.
what I wanted to call him would have been wrong because I was going to say the name of the guy who's going to be an Andor. Um, and I would have looked like an idiot, so I decided not to. But I told you anyway, so that helps. But no, so he was the
Doesn't
voice.
stray from the path too much, so.
No, the only thing, so it looks like, and granted, we kind of had the idea of what was happening, is that Galactus was coming to eat Earth,
Yep.
um, which where shouldn't have been a surprise by anybody. That was what we should have thought the main plot of the story is. I'm a little confused as like how this is gonna go because like the way and again we haven't seen the movie obviously, so it's not like I'm judging it
This
harshly
is
on
also
top.
like the first real trailer.
This was the first real trailer we get plot. Um, so Silver Surfer comes down, says, "Your Earth, where are your protectors? Come forward, children. We're here to eat your Galactus will be here to eat your planet in 12 to 10 business days," and then goes away.
Okay, okay, hold on. You tried to go through so many different accents while saying that. Like you went like your normal voice, then you went from like a fancy voice, then you tried to stick in a little bit of Russian in there, and then like you went back to fancy. Uh like stick with one voice. If you're
So
gonna do
anyway,
it.
So anyway, she comes down and she's like, "Where are your protectors?" Then they're like, "We're here," and she's like, "Galactus will come to eat you in like 10 to 12 business days." She flies away. He shoots up, aka Human Torch, which he does look cool.
Mhm.
Not that we didn't see it already, but I thought it was kind of cool. We also get to see. Also, what happens too is he can't flame on in space.
Lack of oxygen, so it does make sense.
No, no, no. It 100% makes sense. No question there whatsoever, because that also happened in the Rise of the Silver Surfer as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Something that I am a little bit cautious about. The I don't remember who, but someone in Disney came out and said that Johnny, this version of Johnny is not going to be an arrogant douche like he is typically. This one is more of like a actually like a good like I want to say good brother, but it's like he like just not an ass and
all right, so here's my thing with that, where it makes sense, and I think it has to do with the fact of because it's the '60s, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but like because it's the '60s, I feel like because they're supposed to be like they're basically the royal family of that universe. Like, you know what I'm
mm,
saying?
yeah.
So like they have to be on like their best behaviors. So like that makes sense to me.
But at the same
Um,
time, like if he's got that personality where like he's a celebrity, celebrity's a celebrity. Doesn't matter what time frame it is, they'll do whatever they want, and it doesn't really make a difference. We were hearing a lot of things that celebrities were doing back in the day, and it's like, okay, normal people couldn't get away with that,
yeah,
and
but I think all right. All right. So hear me out on
the
this.
the
Okay.
the type of character that Johnny is, I still feel like it would work just no matter what the time period.
I don't know. I think because this is such a different universe that it's different. I know that's weird to say.
Yeah,
Um, that
I like
it's
because it's a different universe. I am okay with it, and like I said, it's just like a little bit of how like fans are going to react to it because we're so used to this particular character. Like we just said,
and I
we
also
saw
think
Chris Evans still kind of play that same character in Deadpool, so we have
But to
that
be fair,
fresh in our head.
yeah, but to be fair, I mean, we learned this Johnny Storm learned his lesson because when you talk that way, you get turned inside out. So it won't happen again.
But then also like the way like he could become more mature and more just more mature.
Yeah, I
Because
think
of the fact that his sister is pregnant. Maybe he starts off as reckless at the beginning, and then when he finds out the sister's pregnant, he starts like, "Oh, I have to be a better brother for."
there's a lot of things we don't know about this universe because at the
Yeah.
same time we also know that this is an established team.
Hmm.
So there might have
Which also, that speaking of that, you were correct and I was wrong that they had just started the whole space thing. You
huh, huh, interesting.
Yep.
And that's
I
just how it works. Is
Oh,
it
good
funny?
job. You were right for one time.
One
Uh
time, twice in one episode, Mike, because she was pregnant. Anyway,
Yeah, but that wasn't exactly your entire thought. You got that from the internet. So,
no, I said that the way she was holding her hand, and then I got help from Reddit, and then we talked about it. All right. Anyway, so my point I'm making is, so I feel like this might be a Johnny that has already grown.
mm,
So you're right. I feel like he might have been like that, and we might see clips of him being like that when they show like them going into space the first time before they turned into the Fantastic Four. So like I feel like we might see a little bit of that. But
yeah.
once I think now we're at the point where he's. I don't want to say he's fully mature, but he's maturing at this point.
Yeah. If they go along those routes, then I think
Because
that would
again,
work the best.
this is the Fantastic Four who's already um, existed for a bit. We don't know
Yep.
how long, but they've existed for a bit. So it's like focusing on that piece and kind of like moving along on that is the big piece there. We also get to see them what looks like destroy the city,
Yeah. Well, I
which
mean, they're battling, so they're probably fighting Galactus,
no
so
no
the
no
city's getting destroyed.
I get it, but
Or the
like
Silver Surfer.
true, but it looks like Ben's destroying a building, which is what's throwing me off a little bit. Doesn't ruin anything. Like there's a reason for it because I guarantee you, Reed is explaining to Ben exactly what needs to be done.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm just it looked odd of seeing the thing just destroy a building,
Hmm.
but
Oh,
anyways,
I've been seeing so much online about this trailer, and it pisses me off because it is the Snyder fans compare everything to those damn movies.
oh
There
yes,
was there was the thing pulling the cruise ship, and they're like, "Oh my God, Zack Snyder is the blueprint." It's like, oh,
yes,
there have been so many renditions of that scene. Like, are you like? We saw Jack Sparrow pulling a ship in Pirates of the Caribbean, and so like, is Zack Snyder the blueprint for that too? That movie came out 10 years before Zack Snyder even thought of this.
I mean the other thing too is it's not like how do I want to phrase this? Um, it's like it's one of those things where it's like people want to like state that Zack Snyder is the greatest director ever to exist, and I'm not
Like
saying he hasn't.
he's come out with good movies,
Oh
but
no,
like,
for sure, but like he's not like not everything he does is gold, and it's like
yeah,
you make it seem like he was taken away at his peak when. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, people. It wasn't a peak.
no, it was one of the worst things. Like for comic book wise, that was like that destroyed like the perception of superheroes.
And his cut was worse than the original, in my opinion. Still,
I agree. I hated his cut. I hated
um,
it, and I know that's a hot topic, but it's like I hated it.
like again, but it's just so funny because I saw the same thing and I was like, so what was funny is they showed two photos of the thing pulling it.
Mhm.
Granted, it was the exact same photo, and it was like Fantastic Four and the Zack Snyder cut, and I'm like, I I guess because it's dark, but like that's it. Like
Oh yeah,
okay,
that's the other thing. There's so many comparisons. Is like if so like in the Superman trailer when Crypto was bouncing on Superman, there were still shots of like different directors making it. If it was like animated, and then like if it
yes,
was directed by Zack Snyder, Crypto, instead of being a whatever poodle or whatever kind of dog he was that
a Rottweiler.
um it was either a Rottweiler or a pit bull, and he's holding a machine gun.
I mean, to be fair, it's needed. Um,
So it's like and obviously it was darker because
well, I mean,
but
it's is it Zack Snyder without it? You turning the lights off?
like
Uh,
for example, like Zack Snyder directed the movie 300. Fantastic movie. Taking that kind of mentality into superhero movie that's supposed to be about hope and all that other stuff, like, it doesn't really translate well.
did he just do the first one, or did he do the second one too?
I do not know. I do not
Okay.
know.
So
What was the second movie called? 300 what?
300 plus. I don't know. I honestly have no. All joking aside, I legitimately don't know. I would just
300
say,
Rise of the Empire.
oh, okay, that works. And it was not Zack Snyder, I'm
Nope,
assuming.
it was not.
Okay. It was brighter. That's how I knew. That's how I knew. They turned the lights on. And you know what? That's the thing. You could actually see half the pit. You could see half the pit that movie. I'm awful human being. But anyway, so no, I really like this trailer. I thought it was incredible. Um,
No, it was a really good trailer.
a lot of people were mad about Silver Surfer being a woman, and
Yeah.
I laughed hysterically because, and again, there's people like you out there, Mike, who forgot that it was already announced that it was a woman, and it just makes me laugh because it's like there is a female
No,
Silver
there is.
Surfer,
Yeah.
and there. That's the thing that kills me. It's like it just makes me laugh because it's like it's anybody who has the board. For goodness sakes, Doom has been a Silver Surfer.
I mean, like I said, I just forgot. So it was one of those things where it's
No, no,
like I
no.
wasn't prepared for the voice and wasn't prepared for
Here's the thing.
the
I get it, but like you weren't mad about it. My
no.
whole thing was people were mad about it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how are you mad about it
Again,
now?
Disney going woke. That crap.
The one thing I do, I have heard that they're going to be doing in this, which does make sense, is I feel like they're going to be heavily focusing on her pregnancy
Absolutely.
and the fact that it's the '60s, her being a stay-at-home mom, which is not going to be a thing. Um, because the idea is back then, like
Yeah.
you took care of the family, and
hmm
like as weird as it sounds, like yes, she's a woman. Yes, in the '60s, that's the norm.
But she's a
Not
superpowered woman.
Yeah, and Galactus is on the planet.
Yeah.
Like she's gonna have to not make breakfast for the kids. So it's like somebody was pissed off about it being like they're making it too woke. Like they're getting there. Like somebody legitimately said, and I was pissed off. Like, oh, Sue Storm's getting out of the kitchen and trying to make it so women are the heroes, and I'm like, Sue Storm is a hero. She is legitimately like she doesn't need to do anything else. She is the hero. Like, the only reason why she's grouped in with the Fantastic Four is because they all got their powers at the same time. That's it.
Yep. These keyboard warriors, man. They know how
And
to.
honestly, she's considered. So, to be fair, for the longest time, she was considered to be the most powerful Fantastic Four character, and only
She is one
because
of the most powerful. Like
no, no, no,
that's
she's no, meaning like she's the strongest Fantastic Four character. The reason why I say used to is because Ben Grimm has actually taken the title recently.
Azzy. Interesting.
So, fun fact for the comics, apparently the thought was, and again, this is a one-off story. It's not like it's canon throughout the entire multiverse of
hmm
Ben Grimm. But the idea was his rock skeleton or his rock skin was actually a cocoon that when he released, he literally turns into pure energy.
Oh, I think I
So
remember there was a like a hint at that in one of the movies.
well, it was weird. Well, no, it wasn't because in that one the powers changed because the power cosmic changed their powers.
hmm
So that one doesn't count. But I get your point. Yes.
Okay.
So but yes. So the idea is he's now pure energy, and so like his rock skin is gone. He still has all the strength and durability when that skin was on,
Yep.
and now he has an immense, literally energy output,
Yeah.
and he can turn it on and off like the Human Torch.
Oh, cool.
So it was just funny because the reason why I say that is because he's now considered the strongest for just that moment. However, Sue overall has been consistently the same. She
Yeah.
has not been stronger or weaker at all, which is hilarious because she could just kill people easily. All that honestly stops her is her imagination, because she doesn't put the force field inside the body and go. That is legitimately how she has actually killed creatures that way. Fun fact.
Nice.
No, disgusting. So I cannot wait to see that. But I'm also curious too. Is obviously when her shield, when her force fields are broken, she shatters a little bit mentally and physically.
Yeah, that takes a lot of it takes a lot of strength and mental,
So I'm curious about the struggle between her wanting to save Earth and her protecting her unborn child.
hmm
But the other thing too is we're assuming that the child doesn't get born during the movie. That's the other thing.
we're going off the assumption that they just found out, so this whole thing is going on at like the beginning of her pregnancy, kind of thing.
No, absolutely. But you get my point I'm making. We don't know because there could be a long gap in time in the movie because
Yeah,
maybe they're preparing for Galactus's arrival,
absolutely.
which is also a possibility as well. But anyway, very very excited about this. I'm more hyped than I was before, and we got to see everyone except for like we have not seen a full Galactus yet,
Yeah,
but we're getting.
which hopefully, if they're smart, they will save that for the movie.
No, no, I 100% agree with you. I'm just stating we are getting literal bits and pieces of him.
Yep.
Every trailer we get a different body part. What's next? And again, I'm not mad about it in the sense of like it ruins anything for me. It does not ruin anything for me. I just find it funny that they're Mr. Potato Heading it, where we're
Yeah,
getting bits and pieces and we're supposed to put it together mentally. However, he does look good. Like
yeah.
I honestly, I mean, granted,
So far, it's been pretty good.
I mean, it's really not that hard to be the best live action Galactus. I'm just stating
No, it is not.
no,
It's already better than the original.
and it was better than the original before we saw it. So
Yep. As long as it wasn't a cloud, it was better.
it's gonna be a person, and we all went yes. Um, I will be curious if they do make a joke about it though, where like his ship comes in and it looks like a cloud,
I
and then
think I think they made a joke about it in the trailer. I think they said like, "Oh, it's some death cloud coming," or I thought I remember
you
some kind of joke
you
being
but
made
to
about it.
be but I don't think it was meant like all right, I'll say it this way. In the movie it was meant to be serious. But
Yeah.
to us it was a joke because of
No, no,
because
no.
of
I'm talking about in this trailer, this Fantastic Four trailer. I feel like they
I
literally.
think Reed might have said something like that. He might have, to be honest with you. But anyway, either way, I would find that to be hilarious because it would make sense. Like he would cloud himself in cosmic energy,
Mhm.
which would look like a cloud, and then you would reveal his ship, and then he comes out to then eat because he's hungry.
Yeah,
Now is it eating or drinking? Because it's energy. You know what I mean? Like I understand the consumption of it, but like, I mean, I guess. uh, I mean, I think they say eat, right? Don't they? In the comics?
I think they just say consume. I don't think they've ever actually.
I'll never do that on camera again. I just realized what that looked like.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice. I will.
Well, you
That
know what?
was.
It was a choice that I do not condone, but it's now living on the internet forever. So, I'm embarrassed.
Editor, cop that out.
It literally will be the wrong thing cut out because I said that.
You're gonna leave that in, and
It's
it's
just
gonna
gonna be
be
like
instead.
everything else is gone, and it's just 2 hours of me doing that. Anyway, let us focus on the movie at hand. I'm super excited. We're gonna be seeing it. Oh no, we decided we're not seeing that one together. We're gonna be seeing Superman together.
Yeah, we'll see how we'll see how the summer goes and whatever. So
Well, just
who
because it's
knows?
gonna be difficult and everything else, and we don't know what it's gonna look like and blah blah blah. But we'll see. I mean, it very well might not be a problem to see it both times, but it's just we just know that time frame is weird for actually both of us. Worse for you, obviously, but
I mean,
weird for me.
as long as it's a Saturday night, then I can do it. It just the thing is for you, it's the burden on you is that you have to come to me because
Correct. No, no,
I wouldn't
because
make it if I have to go to you.
no, no, I know that. Like that's my point I'm making, where it's like it's the reason is because of both of us. Like
Yeah.
it's not just one. But anyway, very much excited about it. So let us move on to Mike talking about Star Wars because he gave me a little bit of a hint of stuff, but I feel like there's a
So
lot more.
yep, Star Wars Celebrations was this week. So they went through and like was
So
announcing
I have a
things, doing
question.
sneak
What is
peeks.
that? Is that like D23 of Star Wars or?
Yeah, I was just saying that. I was like they went through and like did sneak peeks of stuff coming out and and trailers, and they actually were doing some like they unveiled some hidden some lost media where it was like there was a animated scene of Anakin Skywalker chasing a young Boba Fett that donned the suit, was just beginning his journey as a bounty hunter. Um so it's like those kind of things that they were showing. Um, Dog just smacked her face into the ruler. Um, but one of the big things that was announced was we are getting Visions season 3. It is coming out October 29th of 2025.
I'm assuming it's all coming out at once, just like it has been.
They didn't specify, so I don't know. Probably. But so there are 9 episodes, and they are each directed by a different person. So it's going to be basically nine original storytellings,
Like it has been.
like it has been.
But
And
we don't know the
so
gimmick this time, right?
I had mentioned to you about how one of the shows was one of the things was announced, and it is called. I gotta pull it up. It is called the Ninth Jedi. So that was actually I had mentioned it to you last night when we were
No,
recording.
no, 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 no. You did. I'm trying to calculate why is it called the ninth.
So apparently there are 3 episodes. So the Ninth Jedi, the Village Bride, and the Duel. These were all from season 1. And they are going to have a part 2 in season 3.
Oh, now I understand. Okay,
Yes.
okay. I was lost and now I'm found.
Yep,
Okay.
there you go. You had to let me get to the point, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, I had to let you finish talking. Isn't that
Oh,
weird?
isn't it so shocking?
It's so incredible. If only we knew to do that to begin with. But I can continue, so I can interrupt you again.
Yeah, let's find something else.
I will sit here and wait for my moment.
I, um, we got people got a first trailer for the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which I mentioned to you before we started recording. I didn't get a chance to see it because by the time it popped up on Twitter, or by the time I saw it, it Disney had already taken it down. But they announced a bunch of movies which I had gone through before. There are 9 Star Wars movies in development over the next 5 years. So pretty cool. A lot of Star Wars content. There is something big that is coming out next year, which I am excited for. It is a new original animated series. It is called Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. And it takes place after Rebels, or it takes place after episode 3 and before episode 4. So it is in that Rebels time frame. And the rumor going around right now is that they're animating the concept that George Lucas originally had for a sequel trilogy, and they're finally coming out with it. So like when before George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney, he was thinking about doing a 7, 8, 9, but it was going to be Darth Maul being a warlord and taking over and being the big bad. And so they're coming out with this animated series that's supposedly supposed to be focusing on this.
So, would this take? Obviously, it takes place before Rebels. Obviously,
It's so it's kind of like
is this canon? So would this take? Would this get us to see what happened when we saw him in the Solo movie?
yes, that would be
We'll have
that.
a better idea of like what happened there, type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said after episode 3 and episode 4, like this is going to take place before he gets killed by Obi-Wan, obviously.
Well, no, I figured as much. No offense. I'm not trying to be a jerk on that. Like I
Yeah.
kind of figured as much.
I
But
realized when I had mentioned it and you seemed like kind of thrown off by it,
well, no,
I
no.
was
I
like,
was
"Oh."
just trying to think of like where have we seen him already? Kind of in because yeah, because I think in Rebels he kind of popped out of nowhere and then lost everything, and we don't know how he.
Yep.
One, we never even saw him get everything, and two, he lost it. So it's like he
Well,
gained
I
it and
mean,
lost it.
so here's the
Sort of.
thing. We saw that because in Clone Wars, he built up the Empire. He was in charge of Mandalore. And then Sidious came in and was like, "No, you're always going to be
Yeah,
my
but then he.
apprentice."
But then he took over the underground, and we never saw that rise.
Yeah, because when we saw him in Han Solo, he was a warlord, but we, like you said, we never saw that.
And
We
then
never
we
saw
see,
how it
and then we,
collapsed.
and then we see him in Rebels, just a lost man.
Yep, yep.
So there's like, so it's supposed
So
to be that time period, right?
yeah,
Okay,
yes.
good. The the
And
the
so
unknown years.
and the theory is because again, this was a concept and this was a extended universe concept where when Darth Maul became a warlord, he took an apprentice who is a red Twi'lek woman, and there's
Is that the
um
tentacles?
it's the Hera. Hera's
Yeah,
species.
you know what's funny? That's exactly who I thought. I was absolutely correct. I'm proud of myself.
Okay.
Because it's
Um,
tentacle hair. That's how I think of it.
you doing that with your face, the way it, you just really love your cuts right now. You know. It's
I am gonna, I am gonna create a lot of memes this week.
So, anyways, there is a Darth Talon is supposed rumored to make an appearance. Who is a another Twi'lek, also red. Um, and I don't know the whole story of them in the extended universe. I don't know.
When
I
you
don't
say
know. Like,
red, you mean their skin's red?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Have we ever seen a red one? Seen blue, green, yellow?
I think we have.
Have we?
I think so.
I feel like it's not clicking in my head because I feel like
I don't like remember,
I
but
feel like red would have stood out significantly for me because like the blues and the greens I'm just so used to and the yellows that if I would have saw a you know what I'm saying?
yeah. No, I just don't remember if it was like if it's like in a game or whatever.
That you know
Like,
what? That's fair because I've not played all the games. You might have seen them in the game.
yeah.
Anyway, I
Um,
apologize. I just was curious because I'm like I don't remember seeing a red one ever.
yeah. And the last thing that off of my memory for that was announced during this was that there's a new Star Wars game coming out. It's called Star Wars Starfighter, and it is supposed to be a single player conquest galaxy kind of game.
Oh, so like the old Battlefronts, like the
Um,
original Battlefronts, we get to conquer the universe.
Something like that. I think. I didn't get too far into looking at it. I just was hearing people comment on it, and people
Is
are
it
in uproar.
is it sponsored by EA Games? Is that why?
No, no, that is not. That
Because
is it is not.
that's what ruined Battlefront.
I know.
And
But
I'm still
yeah,
crying inside.
but
Give me a moment.
is your moment done?
R.I.P. Battlefront.
All right. So that's it that I have for Star Wars. So we can move on to the rest of this video, which we are going to start with the season premiere of The Last of Us Part 2. So with this, I already told you a little bit yesterday about how like the start of it was obviously I'm playing the game as I'm going through this because I want to have the experience of the game first and be able to compare
But
it.
correct me if I'm wrong. The main character in part 2 of the game is Ellie. Like you
Yeah,
mostly play as her, correct?
no, it's Ellie. It's Ellie.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's I know that you have a lot of different girls that are in the game that
Well,
I don't know if you know the difference between them. That's why I'm like hesitant
well,
to
no.
tell.
So all right. I'll say this. I realize that there are two different ones. I don't. So I'll say it this way. I know the difference now. But
Okay.
when I saw a gameplay of it, I thought they were the same person.
Oh,
To,
okay.
well, because it wasn't like I was seeing like dialogue and stuff. It was mostly like gameplay.
Yeah.
So like it looked like they were working together. So like in my mind, it was the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Mm,
I was thinking it not as two different people. I was thinking of it as like, oh, she's like training this person and everything else because they kind of stink. Um, and that kind of thought process. Obviously, I'm wrong. Um,
yeah. Um, but I was telling you this yesterday about how the show gave us a little bit more backstory before they changed things around. Like I said in the game, they had started uh the barbecue had already happened. Uh Ellie already punched the guy because he was
a bigot.
bigot. I was gonna say prejudice. Um
I like mine better. It's quick,
no, you're
easy to the point.
nope, yours is much better. So she already punched him out. They went on the scouting trip to check if there's any infected roaming around the nearby neighborhood, and they come back and they have like a talk and about what's happened. Whereas in the show, we saw the barbecue. The scouting trip actually happened before the barbecue, and they gave a little bit more backstory in terms of like Joel is seeing a therapist. We're seeing more about how they're not getting along right now. We don't know why. And at the point of the point at the point I am in the game, we still do not know why they are not why they are not talking.
So all right. I am under the impression, and again, I'm saying this from somebody who hasn't played any of the games, but
Hmm.
I've watched a lot of videos of people playing it.
Hmm.
I'm under the impression because the difference was he kind of told her in the game what happened
So there was no telling of that. No.
in game one. Not at all. Not when he like when she wakes
Oh,
up.
in game one, no, he didn't tell her at all. No, he kept it secret.
I thought he said
At the end of it, she confronted him and she said, "Is it true? Are you telling me the truth that just like how it ended in the show?
I
Are
thought
you
it was
telling?"
slightly different because
Nope.
he I thought he like alluded to something without saying something, and then in the show he completely like denied it.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, so he denied it in the game too.
He denied it in the game. And so far in part 2, there was no nothing that indicated that like he ever told her. And in fact, I mean,
No, no. I mean, I would assume not, obviously, based on how the reaction's going. But she knows something's up.
yeah, something's obviously up. As far as I know, he's only ever told one other person about what really went down, and that. So, like, I don't know what Joel did that pissed off Ellie, and I don't know if I will find out in the game or if if they will reveal it in the show and give it their own little twist, just like they're doing and they have been in the first season. But give a little bit of I wanted to give you a little bit of context in that sense about my experience and how like just they're so far putting a little bit of their own take on it, which you know I am not saying is a bad thing. I'm enjoying the show so far. The first episode was phenomenal. I thought that was great. I love Pedro Pascal as Joel. That's great of an overprotective father after getting a second chance to be a dad.
Yes.
Um,
I also like to the
I
thing with
love
the.
Bella Ramsey. I think makes a great Ellie.
Yeah, people making fun of her because of her appearance, which is irritating. But,
Yeah, it's one of
but
those things where she's not hot enough, and where you're simping over a like supposed 14-year-old girl.
well, welcome to
Creeps.
America, Mike. Um, I think for me, like she acting is what I'm expecting.
Yeah,
Meaning, like what I'm expecting out of Ellie is what I'm getting. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like
Yep.
I'm getting exactly what I'm expecting. Um, I've so far I've loved every single character we've seen so far, and I can't wait to watch them all die. Because
um,
realistically, it's a zombie. It's um like all joking aside, like we know at least half of them are going to die.
yep. So a little bit of context, I guess a little bit more context in the game. I don't know if we're going to see this in the next episode or not. So possible spoilers. Um, but the Asian guy, because the girl that was with Ellie, that um she had said that we broke up. I broke up with my boyfriend last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever. Uh, the Asian guy that was with them constantly, that was her boyfriend, and he's kind of like the head like scout guy that's giving missions.
No, I know. Why are you telling me when they announced that in the episode? Are you just saying it just to say it so everyone has the context?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were telling me as if I didn't know, and I'm like,
If I said it incorrectly, I
no,
apologize.
no, no. You said it correct. No, you absolutely said it correctly. You legitimately said it correctly. I thought you were saying it to me as if I've never played the game. Like this is who this guy is. Like we don't know it yet, but this is what he is. And I'm thinking to myself, I hope that's not what he's saying. And realizing now I get it. That makes more sense in the sense of just like I legitimately thought you were trying to explain it to me, and I'm like, Mike, I already know.
Oh, would this be funny if for a change that Mike is mansplaining things to Scott, because Scott loves mansplaining things to everything that Mike already knows for the most part? It's not as fun, is it?
I mean, I think it's hilarious, but continue.
This is a great episode of me turning things around on you, and it is.
You took away my time. You took away my bits. You took away everything that I had, and it's gone. You know what I am now? A sack of useless information, and I'm not even good at that right now. I'm going on my phone. I'm playing a game and we're doing a podcast.
You've been on your phone already.
It's because I've been messaging people about my baby picture, and it's hilarious. I sent it to literally everyone. Happy Easter.
That's great.
I've gotten some of the best responses. I've gotten some people sending pictures back of them in a similar pose. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's great. Anyways, what are your thoughts on episode 1 so far?
It's a good builder. I mean, it gives us an idea of what's kind of happening, what the concerns are. It's building us a world where they're reaching capacity and they're not going to be able to do much. Also, we get to see that the fungus is smarter now.
Mm-hmm.
And we also see that they're in the pipes.
The fungus is spreading it through the pipes, so it's going to get into the town.
Which makes sense, but it throws me off because it's not attached to a person. So it's let me rephrase it this way. It doesn't visually look like it's attached to a person. I'll say it that way.
No, but the thing is like where the infected go, where they get heavily. So in the game, instead of it being an actual like a fungus like that, it's like a vine. It's spores. So it's like as the spores spread, the infection spreads with it. So in this, because it's vines spread, and it just happened to spread into the pipes, and now because the pipes go to the town.
Here's the thing: it 100% makes sense. I'm just stating, like, I was just a little surprised. That's all.
Oh yeah.
I love the therapist. The therapist she's one of my favorite actresses of all time. My mother kills me. She goes, oh, she always looks so good in all the shows she does. In this one, she just looks old. And I went, Mom, it's an apocalypse. Legitimately, like, she was like, because she saw a clip or she watched it and she was like, oh, and I'm like, it's an apocalypse. Like, makeup doesn't exist at all. Like
accurate.
It's not that it doesn't exist. It does exist, but the likelihood of you being able to find it and use it is like slim to none. So it just makes me laugh because her character is by far my favorite right now. A drunk therapist is what I need in my life, and it's not meant to be a comic relief, but it is a comic relief.
It's also actually for that. Like, I don't think that is in the game as well. So, like, to the point that I'm at as well.
At least at the point you're at, it's not, and I doubt that it is.
Yeah.
And if it is, I know it's going to sound weird to say, it will most likely be more serious than it is in this.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
But that being said, I loved it. I also love the fact too, like he's been there for it's been 5 years, and he only recently killed her husband, and I'm just like, okay, this is getting awkward really quick.
Right.
Because she's like, it's my birthday, and I'm drinking. And he's like, aren't you not supposed to be doing that? She's like, who's going to write me up? And to be fair, she's not wrong.
Nope.
Because, like, I doubt there's a board of psychology watching her right now. And she's like, you know what, Joel? I hate you. I legitimately can't stand you. Now let's talk about your feelings. And what's sad is, like, although she meant every bit of it, she was still trying to get him to say what he needed to say.
Yeah.
And he said the most he's ever said, and she was so thrown off by it that he gave more information, but still she has no concept.
No, absolutely. I mean, he did something terrible. That's it.
And the best part is she sees them at the dance together, and then she's just drinking because that's what she does. And she's just like, like, and again, not meant to be funny, but it is hilarious. I also love is it the Phoenixes? What are they called? The Phoenix?
Fireflies.
Fireflies. I mean, to be fair, am I that far off? I am. So I'm very excited to see them come in because also the fact that Joel's handsome killed me a little bit. Like, that was a line I wasn't prepared for. I was prepared for everything else. And then they're like, and we hear he's handsome. And I'm like, why was that line put in? It's not inaccurate, but why?
It's very important because if you find someone that's named Joel, is he good looking? No. All right, he's good. He's good.
that's not the one I'm looking for. But like you say the scar over his eye, and then you go, and he's good looking, and I'm like, I feel like the scar is an easier tell than the.
Hey, you never know. Sometimes a scar is a turn on for some people.
All right, but my point I'm making though is you're saying something that's subjective instead of objective.
I just
Um,
loved.
there was a pause. There was a
You
pause
were
because
so
I couldn't.
confused. You were so. I am on a roll with throwing you off your game today. I.
Oh, do we know if the council knows that she's immune? I'm assuming they do, right?
No, only three people know. Her, Joel, and Tommy.
Interesting.
Actually, I don't remember if Maria knows. I
I will say this. I assume she knows because she's married to him because I feel like he can't keep a secret.
Well, he's the one who's in charge. She's basically in charge of the town. So like, I don't know if like that's one of the things that
Okay,
Tommy was like, hey, you need to disclose this to her so that way she can keep you all in the loop, kind of thing.
which is fair.
Um,
But I do love the interrogation of the kids, and it's like, oh no, I don't believe her for a word, but I definitely believe
uh,
Ellie, and I'm just like so accurate. Like
yeah.
she's like, oh no, she's 100% lying. She has no idea what's going on. However, she is telling the truth. I believe that in a heartbeat, and I'm just like, that is so funny. And
I had a good chuckle with that when that one.
because it's like, because it was so obvious that she was lying. You know what I mean? Like she didn't know what
Mm,
was going on, but it just made me laugh because it was like, oh no, I'm just letting them think that. Like it was like basically like I'll let them think that for now, and I really don't care. However, she's definitely telling the truth, and he's like,
mm,
well, do you believe it? And so I do like what they're doing because, and it makes it sound like this is accurate game wise, in the sense of like they're not making it a main point yet.
mm.
In the sense of like, oh, we'll put a pin in it for later, but we just got to be careful.
See, the reason why I was like, when you asked me yesterday about whether they were talking about them being smarter in the game, there are infected that kind of just pretend to be like dead until uh
Someone
until
walks
they
by.
sense until they have movement. So it's one of those things where I don't remember if that was a point in the first game or if that was new to the second game. So that's why I was a little bit confused into how to like explain the intelligence factor.
Okay, that's fair.
Um,
No, and you know what? That's fair. I'm taking it in the sense of in this one I mean in this one they
I mean,
look
like this one was hiding. She was
yeah,
stalking. Like
yeah, like
this was full blown like extra intelligence.
where's it set where does it sounds like the dead thing like just laying there and waiting for movement to me is not intelligence necessarily.
Hmm.
It's more of like like you go into a dormant stage until like there's food around.
Yeah.
So like to me like that one wasn't intelligence. But I get your point. Where it could be considered that because walking around burning the energy and then just dying.
Hmm.
Um, which also do we don't do they ever die on their own from hunger or no?
I don't think it's really ever actually been stated that if you ignore them
I don't
long
think
enough, they'll
anybody.
die.
I was gonna say I don't think the show or the games have been long enough for that to happen either.
I mean, the
They do
thing
clump
is
together.
like
I
it's.
mean, we do definitely see them like clump together and kind of spread into each other, and I guess that'd probably be the closest thing, but
But
like not really.
the thing too is like if they were, I think they can end up dying because of that because it's not like they only go after humans; they'll go after wildlife as well. So
That poor bear.
yeah, in the game, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was there was no bear, but it was a moose, which is still a pretty impressive feat to be able to catch it in the first place.
Well, I think the reason why they
Oh,
did the bear was because to show its strength
oh yeah,
and
they're
also
more
skill. As weird as it sounds, killing a moose. I know it's gonna sound weird to say. Catching a moose.
killing a
Ca-
moose versus a bear. The bear is more impressive,
all
but I
right.
mean moose are still pretty
No. I'm
formidable.
not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I definitely can understand why they went with the bear.
Also,
Um,
I know this is going to be a stupid question, but are moose fast or are they like just in general slow moving creatures?
I feel like they're probably as fast as a deer.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I would say on par. On par. I'll say it
Right.
that way. It's on par.
Because the moose is a lot bigger than a deer, so that's why I'm
Well,
like,
I feel like I feel I wanted to say horse speed, but I feel like it's slower than a horse, but not like significantly because of the antlers got to slow it down.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's aerodynamic and I don't realize it. I don't know.
okay.
I'm
A moose can reach a maximum speed of about 35 miles per hour.
and how much is can a deer?
Um,
Because this is really important stuff, Mike. We need to know this.
yep, this is so
This is my
a
ADHD.
deer can reach speeds of 40 to 50 miles per hour.
Okay, so it is slower. Okay. All right, so it's more like human speed. So a human could actually catch up to it. Interesting.
Is Are humans that fast?
Well, I mean, athletic humans, yes.
Oh,
Not me.
I know you. It's like don't there's no mistaking that.
But
Oh,
wait.
okay. Humans a human max speed is essentially 28 miles per hour.
Oh, okay. I for some reason thought somebody broke
And
35.
that's Usain Bolt.
No. I get it. I knew who you were talking about. That's only one man. I know. I was just thinking in my mind. I thought we made it to like the 35-mile marker for like the fastest person, but that makes sense.
So this says the thing I'm saying is that theoretically a human could reach speeds of 30 to 40 miles per hour, but that has never been actually achieved.
Theoretically, interesting. That is an interesting statement because why do I have that number in my head and I didn't know it was theorized?
Right?
That's terrifying for me. I just have these numbers pop in my head.
um,
But yeah. So anyways,
on average, though, most human speeds
60.
are like 5 to 10 miles per hour.
Oh, okay. Oh, average. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So like some people are faster, some people are
I'm
slower.
thinking again. I'm thinking of like I'm taking unathletic people out of it. So like I'm taking myself out of the equation. So I'm like, because I'm like, oh
I'm
my
not
god,
part of the
15.
study.
I'm not part of the. I'm not part of the human species. I'm part of the human- I'm not part of the human species. So I'm just like, yeah, 15 sounds right. And then you're like, oh no, they're counting you. Oh, that's a high number still. Those numbers need to be lower.
Uh,
But no, so it ends with the fact that we're going to be seeing the Fireflies potentially go to the city. We also know that the fungus is going to be literally trying to break into the city, which will be interesting. Um, and almost kill one of the fireflies.
mhm.
But
No, I'm very looking forward to this season. I'm looking forward to where it's going to go because I mean, like I said, they're already changing things from the game to the show, so I'm
yeah,
going to be interested to just compare it.
okay.
Um,
So yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. We're gonna have to wait and see because I feel like the idea is we're gonna be seeing the fireflies come in to the city, and that's my guess. We'll have to wait and see to know for sure. But let us move on to Daredevil. What we are
this
what
this was a fantastic season
I
finale.
have one issue.
You always have an issue.
No,
And
no, no,
I'm
no,
sitting here going like, okay, there's going to be a cliffhanger that's going to make
no. That's no.
Scott mad,
That wasn't my
and
issue.
there was
No,
no cliffhanger.
no. So you know what kills me? I think what killed me was how you described the season to me, which was so accurate. This whole season was a lead up to season 2.
so,
Because it
oh,
is. It legitimately is.
so when Mike is right, you get pissed off.
Yeah, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. I've called people. I've complained to Kevin. I've talked to Kevin. He has tried to screen my calls, and that has not. I have now changed my number, so now he can't even screen it anymore. And he answers, which is dumb of him, which is very dumb of him.
But no, I mean it was. Here's the thing: is that I told you that this season was originally supposed to be 18 episodes, so they clearly broke it down, and this was supposed to be the first half of season 1, and then now season 2 was supposed to be part 2, but and now they just turned it into a full blown season 2. Um,
This was so
but
good. No. This was
this
honestly.
was the first time that correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first time the Daredevil saga or Defender saga ended with not like an actual like closure to the ending of the season. Like this was like, okay, this is what's clearly happened. Like we have to rally and come back stronger for
Well,
next season.
all right, so correct me if I'm wrong. Just to make sure that I understand what you're asking.
Yep.
It has never ended where the heroes lost and we had to wait till the next season to
Yeah.
find out.
Yep.
You're correct. Yes.
I loved that.
No, no,
Like,
no. Honestly, it made it weird as it sounds 1,000 times better, and I didn't think I was going to like it just because of one episode left. There's a lot of things that need to be cleared up, and
yeah.
they didn't. And it
Nope.
didn't hurt. Like it didn't ruin anything. Like I wasn't mad.
No.
I thought I was going to be pissed off, and I'm pissed off that you were right more than anything else. But can we just talk about how we
I
got
mean,
this?
you were right too because Kingpin won.
No, we were both right, which was weird as all hell. It's a way that I was not prepared for, but it
Although Daredevil's identity is still
was not.
secret,
Yes, no, it is.
and he
But
didn't get
also, no,
captured.
but also known too.
What just happened?
I got scared.
What just
I was so terrified. All right, hold on 1 second. Continue on.
Oh my god! So Daredevil escaped. All the vigilantes were captured. Swordsman was captured, which I was a little disappointed that we didn't see what happened with that. I mean, Vanessa and Kingpin are on the same on the same side. Loved that. I loved the darkness of this episode. Like Kingpin coming back to his own, just not caring about the rules and trying to hide what he's doing anymore, and how he, just initiating martial law, which is supposed to be the anti-vigilante act in the comics. Like he turned it into a different thing and to make the show work. Absolutely loved that. I loved how jeez. I loved the sequence between Punisher and Daredevil, like they're fighting together, and how they're so polar. They're the same person, but still like so completely opposite from each other, because like Matt with his no kill rule, and Punisher wants to kill those who deserve death, and like how they're still with conflicting moral compasses. I loved how this kind of just it reflected so much onto the real world, where Kingpin is using fear and threats to keep people under his wing, like his secretary. No, not her secretary. His advisor, his top advisor, his chief advisor. She clearly does not want to work with Fisk, and she does not like what he's doing, but she fears for her life, so much so that she's willing to do whatever it takes to appease him and his following, even to the point that she turned on her friend, or I wouldn't say friend, but turned on the chief of police and essentially got him killed, because at the end of the day, her life was more important. Which, I mean, in the most respects, like that's what most people would be thinking, is like, but oh my god, it was such a great episode. I love, like I just said to Scott, is that, how it ended with everyone with such low there's no hope, but they're trying to rally together and bring a team together to uh to take back the city. It has an opportunity to bring in a lot more characters. Like I know we had talked about rumors of the rest of the Defenders coming back, so that could be pretty awesome to see. I loved Karen coming back, and it just goes to show, which we've said 100 times, that like how the new characters don't hold like enough like emotional connection to them. So when when Karen coming back, and immediately the connection is there. So it's like you care about what's going on. You know you're invested because we care about her. So it just made such a world of difference, and which sucks because we want to get connected to these new characters, but like but like
No, I can.
it
I already
just
have a feeling I know where you were going. Where
with
I
Karen is there, and we already have an emotional connection back, and she's only been here for one episode, so it's like
well, this is the second
it's
episode total.
yeah.
For me, I have to agree with you in the sense of like we really like that the scene when we get to see everyone kind of like where they are now.
Mhm.
We saw obviously mostly new characters,
Yep.
obviously.
Yep, which gives us hope that we're gonna get more. Like
No,
like
agreed.
I was it, like it. This episode gave us a little bit more hope into insight, getting a more connection to these characters that we don't know. Because now, come season 2, it's going to be what have they been up to? How are they going to be getting involved? So like, hopefully, we can build more on them instead of just them being there.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I kind of just like said everything that I loved, and as you heard, like the little bit of disappointment that I had with the extra characters. So
Well,
you
yeah,
can
like I
go
said,
ahead.
I think I kind of have to agree with you on that. Where it's like I wish we would have gotten more of them, and I'm pretty sure you already said this. Wish we would have got more of them so that that scene meant more. Like when we get to see everyone kind of being in their moment of like the end, and
Yeah,
where I would want to have felt more, and I didn't. I hate saying
yeah,
it that way, but like we're supposed to feel bad for everyone because nobody other than the kid, the Kingpin's kid that's not
mm,
actually his kid,
yeah,
is happy and everyone else is miserable.
yeah.
The only thing I have to say is the death of the police commissioner. Have you talked about that?
I kind of talked about it. I talked about so with that in that sense, give you that like a little backstory on that is that I talked about how this show did a really great job reflecting modern day politics in terms of like Kingpin using fear and threats to get everybody, even though they didn't support him, to follow in line. Like his chief advisor clearly was not a fan of him and didn't like what he was
Well,
doing,
police
but she
commissioner, police. Oh no,
no
her.
no no
Yeah,
no
sorry, sorry. I got you.
but she was afraid for her life that if she turned on him he would find out and then kill her, so she threw him under the bus to gain like to protect her.
So I'm talking about his actual death.
No, I know,
No, no.
but like
So no. Here's the thing. 100% agree with you on that. Like I knew she only did that not because she wanted to, but it was because of necessity.
mhm.
However, when he was going to kill him, because let's be fair, I knew he was going to die.
Yeah,
How did you think he was going to die?
I thought his head was gonna get crushed.
Is
not
that what
not
happened?
not jaw breaking off and his side of his head imploding a little bit. Like that
I
was
that made it weird. So when I say worse, I don't mean like I didn't like it. I meant like it made it worse because my mind was prepared for the head crushing, and what we got was broken skull and jaw. Like it was a Mortal Kombat fatality,
oh
like
yeah.
legitimately.
So
Um,
like I like this that scene I will say is like the most brutal thing that they've done in the Defender saga in general.
I mean,
But
I will agree.
at the same time, it's not the most disturbing because I feel like in the first season, the head smash with the car door to the Russian,
Was definitely shocking, more
that
shocking.
was shocking because it was the first time we've seen anything like that.
Well, we've talked about that where it's like that to me that was the scene. Like it
Yeah,
was that in the prison scene with Punisher.
yeah,
Like although on the grand scale of things now it wouldn't be considered that crazy, but because it was the first of its kind, it
yep.
just lives in infamy. And so like this one they made it where it's like, oh, he's going to die, he's going to get his head crushed, like they're going to show his immense strength. And then like they still show his immense strength, but in a way I was not
No,
prepared
no,
for.
no. It was still very much like, oh my god. When I saw that, I
Oh
like,
no 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 because I think I was more shocked because I was prepared for something else,
yeah, yeah, even
and
yeah,
and that's more of my thing. But yeah, I um, but no, it was very good. I also like that so the swordsman and all of the other elites were chained up.
yep.
I loved Punisher, and
I
we also get to see the after credit scene, which is where we now know is going to be the Punisher spotlight or spin off
special,
special.
special.
Sorry, sorry. Is it gonna
which
be
I,
Halloween? Is it gonna be Halloween? Because I feel like it's gonna be Halloween. Because I feel like we're gonna no. Because hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm hearing you out.
No, no, you're not hearing me out. So I feel like it's going to be a purge themed like
Oh,
presentation. So
yeah.
it's going to be Halloween. It's going to be purge themed because now people are going to be breaking out and everything else and trying to like defeat the premise of everything, like
Mm,
stop like the because at night things are going to go crazy, and it's just going to be a bloodbath because it's going to be the granted it's not going to be your stereotypical purge, but it's going to be the squad or whatever they call themselves, the elite police force.
anti vigilante task force.
Thank you, that one. And
I'm like,
and Punish is gonna go ham on them at night, just destroy them, and
yeah.
that's gonna be that. Um, so I'm very curious. That's my prediction right now. However, love seeing everyone in cages. I love how they walk through all the cages to eat dinner. That is
Mm,
beautiful. Also love that the reason why Foggy got killed was because he stumbled upon something that was actually the reason why Vanessa was making so much money.
yeah. Yep.
And
The
now,
the docs, which is actually great because we talked about the docs at the beginning of the season and it was like, okay, nothing really came of this, and then like it actually became a main focal point
it
of the
was it
season finale.
but it was the main plot technically.
Yeah.
Like we just didn't know it. We just
Oh
didn't
yeah.
know it. I loved Karen being back. I love that she called. I love that she called Frank. Just because I love the fact that the only reason why he came was because Karen called, and the best part is when he gets into that when he get I think you probably talked about this, but the interaction between Matt Murdock
I did.
and
Yep.
Punisher was incredible. And I just love how he's like, "Do you realize how you look?" Oh, probably not. And he's like, "Oh, you gonna fight him with your ass hanging out?" And he's just like, he flips him off, and I'm like, "This is everything I wanted ever." And it
Oh
was
yeah.
perfect because it legitimately was. It's exactly how I expect Punisher and Daredevil to talk.
I had said about how like they're so similar but polar opposite that it meshes so well because
No, you're
it's
right.
like,
Like
you know,
and I love the scene. I love it when they start just like he. First off, we get to see Punisher be full on Punisher, and
just as brutal as he wanted to be.
more. I feel like more brutal than we've seen him, and I know that's weird to say. Maybe
Uh-huh.
it's been a while. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't care and just went for like blood and guts everywhere. Loved it, and I love how he's like stopping Frank from doing it. He's like, "What? You gonna jump on the bullet front of the bullet for this guy too?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he's just like, "You're stupid." And he's
Yep.
like, "What?" He goes, "Grenade," and he goes, "What?" He goes, "Grenade," and he pulls him out and throws him out. I'm like, "This is incredible." I loved everything about it. I also loved Punisher getting beat up by the task force, not because I don't think he could win, but to be fair, there were so many of them that
Yeah.
he was one, he was outside his element because he was out in the open. No
Hmm.
offense to Frank Castle, he does not do well out in the open completely.
He's more stealth kill. Yeah, absolutely.
He's guerrilla tactics and he's good at it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I will never
Yep.
question that whatsoever. But with the environment to his advantage, he can only handle. He can still handle a lot. I mean, we saw that for sure.
Hmm.
But he cannot take down an army by himself that way.
I
And
loved that
unfortunately,
he
we saw
was.
it.
I loved while being tortured. Like they were trying to recruit him,
Oh,
and he was
that was.
and he was still ragging on them.
He's like, he's like, why don't you just kill me and get this over with? Because there's no way I'm joining your. I forgot what he called them. He gave them like a real degrading name, and I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I don't remember exactly what he
But
said at this point,
he
but
definitely no, you're right. He was definitely ragging on him the whole time, and he just kept getting hit, and he's like, "Just keep it coming, boys." And honestly, weird as it sounds, I was surprised they let him live. Now,
yeah.
granted, hear me out. I know they were going to because he gets his own special.
Hmm.
However, I thought he had to escape or something. No, he literally was just like, "No, we're just gonna keep him
Yeah.
because he's gonna be
No, I was
stronger."
I was expecting them to kill him too, and like I would have been like, how does this play off? Or like like you said, he'd have to escape or whatever, and that didn't happen. So,
No, exactly.
um,
So we're on the same page on that one. But I love the end of him breaking the guy's arm, and then then it goes black, and you hear him unlock the door, but we don't see him leave,
yep.
which is incredible.
Um,
And I love all that. No, I see the lights flickering. So
You
yeah,
see the light. You
yeah, so
see.
just quickly go over what you expect of season 2, and then we'll do my character spotlight.
Well, all right. I'm kind of obviously I'm expect so season 2. I'm kind of now in the full expectation that the Defenders will be making an appearance because this massive incident happened. They have to bring in more of the Defenders. They're going to be making appearances. I know we had talked about the act a while ago. The actress had gone to New York. The actress who played Jessica Jones had gone to New York, and the theory was because that week they Daredevil season 2 had begun filming. So, uh, obviously, with the theory that she is coming in, I'm expecting more of the Defenders to be coming in as well, um, which obviously makes sense. I'm wondering if there's going to be more tie-ins to the overarching MCU that make appearances. One of the big things that I want to mention real quick, which when Scott comes back, I will say again, is that it's so difficult because Spider-Man is supposed to be a street level hero that with all this going on that he doesn't show up in some way. Like that just makes it so difficult to believe and so difficult to like that's a tough pill to swallow because it's like there's no way he wouldn't get involved. But um oh, good, you came back at the right time. So one of the
So
things that I was saying was that obviously with the idea that Jessica the actress who played Jessica Jones was in New York during the starting of Daredevil
we're
season
getting
2,
the Defenders Army back.
the Defenders are coming back.
No,
But one of the
no,
things,
no. We are getting the Defenders Army. We're getting everyone. We're gonna bring
but
out the
the
Swordsman. We're gonna get Hawk Girl. We're gonna get Miss Marvel. We're gonna get. I'm running out of people. Give me a minute.
so as I was
Misty
saying,
Knight.
that thing that I was very disappointed in, and it's so difficult to wrap your head around it, is that with everything going on and being that he has been officially announced as a street level hero now, how is Spider-Man not going to be involved in this? Like that
Well,
is
to be fair, it's because
because of legal rights. I know, but it's one of those things where it's like he has to be involved. Like Disney has to work out some kind of deal so that way he can get involved in this. Because for him for all this to go on and then just him to ignore it and not make not it's like wow, that's really upsetting. Um, but yeah, I mean Kingpin is going to continue running mayor. He's the city's going to be in martial law.
well, which is
Um,
incredible. Yeah. So I'm thinking the whole idea is. I know this is gonna sound stupid to say, but like they're going to do something where Peter's somewhere else just to cover themselves, just because of the legal issues of it all. But we're going to get Miss Marvel instead. We're going to get all the Defenders, and I feel like we're going to get some new ones. We're going to be getting White Tiger. I guarantee you, we're getting White
what I
Tiger.
mean, we already hinted at that because she was. We saw her when the cops were going around, so she's definitely going to be taking the mantle of White Tiger. Um, we're going to be seeing a lot. We're going to like we said a little bit is that we're going to be getting more of these new characters that were introduced. We're going to be seeing how they're getting involved, which I had mentioned while you were gone. Is that's going to do great for building more connection to them because they'll.
No, absolutely.
Um,
I think we're gonna be getting. I feel like so. The one thing is we're only gonna have to wait a year, which is huge.
mhm,
Um, that's going to be like a huge, great thing for in my mind. The other thing too is I'm very curious to see. Obviously, the assumption is we're going to be getting the Defenders, whoever decides to come back,
mhm.
right? Because I'm saying it that way because
We don't know.
we don't know. We are heavily suspecting that definitely Jessica Jones, just because we've already talked about it. I know you've talked about it. Um, and we're probably going to see more. I mean, I don't know. I also am curious, are we going to see other MCU minor characters? Are we going to
Yep.
be seeing people from She-Hulk as well,
Mhm.
like the minor characters from there? I'm very curious on that piece. Um, I'm just very curious in all that stuff in that sense because we realistically could also see Wong.
Yeah.
Um, just because of it being in New York, and all of a sudden he travels between all the sanctums, but New York does have a sanctum.
Yep. Yep. I mean,
Um,
he's the anchor of the MCU right now. So
it's actually Madison with two N's and a Y, but it's not what you think. Um, I still love how she is like everyone's favorite character, myself included. Myself included, and she is literally nobody.
um,
You
so
oh, so you haven't seen the meme of all these they show you four pictures of characters, and you see these people how great they are in the movies and the shows, and none of them exist in the comics. And it's like Darcy, it's Madison, it was two other characters, and I'm like, that's hilarious because it's so true.
yep. So I think that pretty much wraps up what we thought of the season finale. Absolutely great. So two things before we move on. First, how would you rate the season out of 10?
I'll give it an 8.
I'm in the same boat as you. I'll give it an 8. Like, it was great. It had some great moments, but overall, like, because of the rework of how the season went, because they revamped the show from the ground
I
up
think it was a
almost.
lack of character. It was
Yeah,
it was
there were
the
so
lack
many.
of
There was
character
a
building
little bit more that could have
new
gone into
people.
it.
There were too many new people that they didn't give us context for, enough
Hmm.
context, where I feel like we needed more of that for us to feel something about them, like we did in the original Defender Sagas series, and we
Hmm.
didn't get that here, and because of that, I didn't care about a lot of them.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Um,
Okay.
it needed a
But
little bit
that
more with that.
that's my main reason of why it's 8, because if they would have done that, I think it would have been a 9 without a question.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
Um,
that's just me personally.
mhm.
Who knows if I'm right or wrong? I don't know, but like, let's go with it. But all right, you ready for my character spotlight?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So Mike doesn't know this character, so we're gonna go into heavy detail about him. His name is Jacques Duquesne. Duquesne? How the hell do you say that,
You
Mike?
just said that in two very different ways. Like, it's not even like you just like changed a vowel. It was just like
So ready? So no. So it's French for sure. So it's DU capital Q lowercase UESNE.
no.
Jacques de Cousin. Um, that actually sounds closer to whatever the hell I said. So in the comics, he's actually the swordsman.
Okay.
So read when I tell you this stuff, Mike. I want you to understand how surprised I was. So this character was introduced in 1965. Um,
That's early.
yeah, no, definitely. And I hope you're prepared for what you're gonna hear, because I'm not gonna lie to you, nowhere close to what I was expecting based on what we've seen of him so far. So,
Okay.
the swordsman so before he was the swordsman, Jacques was a performer at various circuses and carnivals. He also worked as a costume thief, enforcer, and possible sex trafficker. His circus acts demonstrated his mastery of knives, swords, and other bladed weapons. At one carnival, he met the young Barney and Clint Barton. Taking them in after rescuing them from their abusive foster father, seeing great potential in them, the swordsman and trick shot trained the boys in blades and archery. With Clint often being a second performer in Swordsman's act, Barney helped Jacques commit the petty crimes. The swordsman had a gambling problem that left him heavily in debt. One day, the carnival paymaster was robbed, and Clint later found the swordsman with the money. Barton ran from him and climbed the high wire. The swordsman cut it by hurling his sword. Barton fell to the ground, and the swordsman left him thinking he was dead. However, Barton survived and grew up to become none other than Hawkeye. It was presumed that he and Barton reconciled years later, though, because they're friends. The swordsman committed various crimes around the world, causing him to be barred from several nations, which I find to be hilarious. He sought out the Avengers, thinking that posing as a hero would lead to much bigger crimes. His offer of service was refused. Angry, he attacked Captain America, but was soon surrounded. The Mandarin teleported the swordsman to his location, thinking he would be a useful double agent against Iron Man. He outfitted the swordsman's sword with several embedded devices, um, with the technology that is from the same technology that's used in his rings. Just for context, the Mandarin in the comics, his rings are alien, and each ring has a different power. So like fire, wind, electricity, just to have that teleportation, all those
Cool.
things. Just so you know, like the kind of technology that's now in this guy's sword.
Okay.
Um, he also sent a fake message from Iron Man asking the Avengers to allow the Swordsman to join them. And although they suspected it to be a trap, he was allowed to join the Avengers. Surprisingly, the swordsman fit in well and even developed a crush on the Scarlet Witch. Ordered by the Mandarin to lure the Avengers to a bomb, he feared she would be injured and tried to dismantle it instead. When the other Avengers arrived, it looked like he had been caught setting the bomb instead. However, the swordsman fled, and although he had regrets, he soon fell back into a pattern of crime. He served alongside the brainwashed Black Widow and Power Man on many occasions. He still longed to be a part of the Avengers, and even joined them in Asgard to fight Ares, and the Enchantress. His heart would his heart was no longer in crime, and he began to drink heavily while serving the Monsignor Kroll. Cruel. It's weird. No, it makes me want to say it's Kroll, but it's spelled Khruul, and it's messing with me. Anyway.
Huh.
So the beautiful Mantis was working for this person as a barmaid. She convinced him that he could be a hero again, and he was still reluctant in becoming until becoming injured on one of the assignments from his master. Mantis helped him recover, and the two left the United States. Revitalized, the swordsman asked to rejoin the Avengers, and his sincerity won him over. The swordsman was a valued member, although he still doubted himself. He later fell in love with Mantis, but his feelings were not reciprocated by her. And his old master was angry and captured him and tortured him on one occasion, because why not? It was soon revealed that Mantis was a celestial Madonna. Kang began a mad quest to become her bride. I'm sorry, to make her his bride. I apologize. And he was stopped by the Avengers and another version of himself, Ramatut. Kang decided that if he could not have Mantis, no one would, and he aimed a ray gun at her. And Swordsman instinctively jumped in front of her, while Tut was able to grab the gun and altered his aim. The blast traveled up Swordsman's sword, fatally wounding him. Mantis realized that she really did love him as he died. So sad.
So sad and happy and
So the swordsman's body was buried in the garden maintained by the priests of Pema, near where Mantis had grown up. This garden contained sentient plants known as Mutati. I was so hesitant because if I said this word wrong, I was gonna be in real trouble. It was
the fear that was on your face. Oh my god! I heard the pause and I look at you and I just see the fear in your eyes.
To be fair, Mike, if you saw how this was spelt, my mind went. If I say this wrong, we're getting canceled. Um, anyway, it was actually the eldest tree that was destined to mate with Mantis. It inhabited Swordsman's body and approached Mantis. Explaining itself to her, Immortus married the two. They then seemingly transformed into energy and left Earth. It was later revealed that the spirits of Mantis and the Prime plant had actually left their human forms behind when their spirits left Earth to procreate, and the priest of Panama would rebury the swordsman's corpse in his original grave, and had buried the body of Mantis, now in a state of suspended animation, right beside him. And the celestial Messiah was later born because of this. Years later, Mantis approached the West Coast Avengers seeking their help because she had no memory of what happened to her since she left Earth. The search for answers soon led them to the temple of the priests of Pama, where the swordsman's body burst out of its grave, once again inhabited by the spirit of the prime plant. After a fierce battle, the reanimated swordsman killed Mantis, and the shock of this death caused her consciousness to transfer from the plant body um, it had unknowingly been inhabiting back into her original body that was buried nearby. With her consciousness returned to her true form and her memories restored, Mantis dug her way out of her grave and revealed that happened what had happened to her since she had left Earth. Having restored his former wife, The plant vacated its host form without its alien life force to hold it together. The swordsman's body's corpse disintegrated. However, the swordsman was resurrected by the Chaos King and fought the Grim Reaper alongside dead Avengers. However, he died at the end of the Chaos War.
Okay.
That's the end, legitimately. That's how it ends. Fun fact. So he was existing in 1965, and then never really was the swordsman again until 2011, and then died in 2011. I'm sorry, in 2010, and then died in 2011
Hmm.
because he was that creature that consumed his body.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the swordsman, his powers and abilities. He has a superb athlete is an expert in unarmed combat, and he's a master of bladed weapons, and most notably all forms of the sword. When it comes to pure swordsmanship, he may not have anybody who can equal his skill. To be honest, it's thought of that nobody can match his skill with a sword. Um, However, his weaponry is the sword that was created by the Mandarin, which allows him to create energy beams with great concussive force, a disintegration ray, a large jet of flames, electric blasts, stream of gas capable of rendering opponents unconscious, and he has throwing knives.
He does this. He does that. He does this, and he's got throwing knives.
It was literally written that way, which just makes it laugh. So we have a power scale for the swordsman, which I find to be interesting because a lot of the characters lately that I've had have not had a power scale, and I'm surprised he does. But let's bear with me. So everything's out of 7, just so you know. So his intelligence is a 2 because it's considered normal, right?
Why are you asking me?
No. It wasn't showing up right away. I'm correct. His strength is a 2 because it's also considered normal. His speed is a 2 because it's considered normal. And his durability is a 2 because it is also considered normal. However, his energy projection is a 6 because his sword has multiple types of energy projections. That's why it's a 6.
Mhm.
His fighting skill, could you guess his fighting skills, Mike? Between a scale of 1 to 7?
Um, because you said no one can match his skill with a sword, I wanna say it's 7, but I don't know if like when you get into like those higher numbers for that, it like you have to have like mystical powers kind of thing to enhance it farther. But I'll stick with
No,
7.
so it's a 6, and the reason for it is because you have to be a master of a lot of types of fighting skills, not just one. So as weird as it sounds, like so he's unmatched in sword fighting, hands
Hmm.
down, but he's just mastered the skills of the others, where he's not like the best of all the others. So that's why
Okay.
he's a 6, not a 7. It's a
Yep.
very distinct difference. It's not you weren't
No,
that
that makes
far
sense.
you weren't that far off, but that should have been the key difference there.
Hmm.
Was because the only thing that he was a master of was the sword fighting, meaning
Yeah.
like he was unmatched by only that one. But
Mm.
you were not that far off, obviously. So very
Okay.
different storyline in
Cool.
the comics than what we're getting in the MCU, obviously. Which I find to be very interesting.
Hmm. Um.
Also, fun fact: he was introduced in the Avengers 19 and died in Chaos War number 5
Oh, okay. Hmm.
in 2011, which I find to be funny because he's never been brought back since. Until the MCU.
I was gonna say in the comics.
No, absolutely in the comics. But yeah, so that is my character spotlight. So for now, next week we're going to be talking about any trailers that pop up because there seems to be a lot of them lately.
And there
Um,
has been.
so I'm only saying it that way, not that I'm expecting anything, but I also wasn't expecting this many trailers so frequent.
I wasn't expecting a Thunderbolts trailer every single week for
Again,
the last
no,
how many weeks?
actually, quite literally, I'm the same. I'm in the same boat. So we have that going on. So that will be first. Then we'll be talking about the next episode of The Last of Us and the season premiere of 3 episode season premiere of Andor with a character spotlight from our friend Mike. So for now, if you've made it this far into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.